What's good, people? It is Tony the Savant back again. And before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, please like this video, share this video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. As well, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channels, join the fam, join the fam as I drop content daily, go live daily. And last but not least, my favorite part, leave y'all thoughts and opinions in the comment section, as I'm always interested and intrigued to what y'all got to say about these topics. And I promise y'all, I read all of my comments, take a little time before I go to bed and read everything. I try to respond to everybody and everything. So I was responding to some comments that somebody dropped like 2 months ago. And shout out to bro, because he got right back active. And we was debating some things. I believe it was on one of my Angel Reese videos. So if I don't get to you, right when you comment, I promise you I'm gonna get to it. But I'm always interested to know y'all's perspective on these hot sports topics. And speaking of which, we got to talk about that young phenom, Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, I want to say this. I'm a big fan of Jaron. I'm going to sound a little biased as far as he's one of my guys in boxing. So some people, it comes, what I notice in the boxing community is that when it comes down to certain fighters, some fighters, people just analyze them a little differently. So I'm going to analyze what I've seen from the Jaron Boots Ennis and David Avanesyan fight. And just if I sound biased, it's because disclaimer: Jaron Boots Ennis is one of my favorite fighters right now. But I felt like he looked very good in the ring. He was really displaying his skill set and the things that I think that everybody has highlighted about Boots, as far as his explosiveness, his ability to switch. Much like Bud Crawford, he's a switch hitter. Um, my thing about Boots, though, and I said this before, is that if he meets a puncher, somebody that can take some of his fire and dish it back, I'll be interested to see what he can do under that duress. Because if he was to fight the likes of Bud Crawford, Bud coming with the heat. Bud gonna throw some punches. Bud has superior defense. I think almost underrated his defense is. So if we're talking about Jaron, considering Bud his big fight and his legacy fight right now, then he's definitely gonna have to step up that defense, because David Avanesyan, if y'all didn't know, is a tough fighter. He's not a pushover by any means. His fight against Bud Crawford, he looked, he looked a little bit more, I should say, like a tomato can than he actually is, because Bud is just so superior in his skill set. But I think he was able to see a little bit more of what David Avanesyan can do in this fight. I wouldn't put, right now anyway, I wouldn't put Jaron Boots Ennis' skill set on the same level as Bud Crawford. So, David Avanesyan had a little bit more of a playing field versus Boots. So if you didn't see the fight, David Avanesyan and Boots was exchanging blows, essentially for 4 rounds. Definitely, Boots was giving him a little bit more to work. Boots was doing a lot more body work, and I think that added up. I'm a big fan of body punching fighters that do that kind of work, because it adds up. It may not seem like it in the beginning, or it may not seem like it's affecting that fighter, but eventually, hitting them kidneys, them ribs, that sternum, you know what I mean? It starts taking the wind out of the fighter. So for the first 4 rounds, it was fireworks. I was a little concerned because Boots was taking some heavy blows from David Avanesyan. I'm not gonna cap, man. David Avanesyan was rocking Boots. A few times I thought, Boots might have been dazed a little bit, but he would recover, and even at one point smiled at his corner after a big shot, just to let everybody know he's good. So, but like I said, if you're gonna be going up against the likes of uh, Bud Crawford, you know what I mean, you got to do a little bit more than just be able to exchange, because Bud coming with some heavy hitters himself. But nonetheless, for the first 4 rounds, it was some fireworks. Uh, for the most part, David Avanesyan was sneaky in a big hit, stayed pretty consistent with his jab. Jaron Boots Ennis was able to, he was doing a little bit of everything, jabbing. I seen a few of his hooks that would get through the guard of David Avanesyan. And like I said in the beginning, those body blows, those body blows was adding up. And so we get to the fifth round, and you really seen Jaron Boots Ennis begin to take off. He really began to take, he really began to give David Avanesyan, those body blows was adding up a lot more. And after the fifth round, David Avanesyan elected to not come out. It may have been the beginning of the fifth round or the sixth round, one of the two. But I want to say after 5 rounds, in the beginning of the sixth round, David Avanesyan elected he wasn't coming out. It was a TKO stoppage. All of the damage had added up. And it was one heck of a fight, man. Probably one of the more exciting fights of the year, considering the ramifications of everything, considering what was at stake. Because I'm not sure if y'all know, but Boots just signed a new deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. So he'll be a lot more busy. You'll be seeing his name on fight cards a lot more, I'm assuming. But it was one of those fights that Boots needed to really impress in if he's going to be a pay-per-view star, a welterweight champion, all that good stuff. If he even plans on moving up, and fighting some fights that I feel like he has he has more legacy fights waiting for him at 154 than he does at 147. Which in another video I'm gonna talk about that, because I was making a video prior to the David Avanesyan fight about some of the potential fights Boots had in the future, but I didn't want him, I didn't want him to lose against David Avanesyan, because as we all know, one win and one loss can change the entire landscape of boxing. So I was making that video of some potential fights that I see for Boots at 147 and 154, but I had to see how he performed in this fight, because he couldn't have just won. If he would have went 12 rounds with David Avanesyan, people would have felt a little bit differently about him, I'm sure. But the fact that he was able to stop him, was able to look very impressive. Like, he looked like a prize fighter versus David Avanesyan. And to David Avanesyan's credit, he ain't no scrub. Like I said, he's a tough guy. He'll definitely go blow for blow with you. Gonna give you some fireworks. Excuse me, but um, yeah, man. That's what I was saying. I'm sorry, I lost track of what I was thinking about real quick. But anyway, Boots does look very good. So in my next video, I'll highlight some fights that I think that he should be able to get either at 147 or 154. As Boots himself said, that he plans on cleaning up the 147 division, going undisputed, getting all the straps. So we'll see what comes from that. We'll see for sure. But like I said, I feel like at 154, if he elects to move up, because he's already shown and proved himself that he's good at 147. If he moves up to 154, I feel like he got a lot more money for him, a lot more big fights for him, and then potentially the fight that he wants, Bud Crawford. The only thing about it, though, is Boots is 26, Bud is 36. So, I feel like that 10-year gap does play a bit of a difference. Going to play a factor in the fact that Boots may not be able to get that fight. It's just a generation gap there. We all know Bud pursuing that Canelo fight, and I believe after that, Bud will retire. He's already pretty much done a lot of what he wanted to do and within his career. So I feel like he get that Canelo fight, then he moving on into the next phase of his boxing career, which I would love to see Bud in media. You know what I mean? I love to see what he would do in the media escape. Him and like Sean Porter. I think that'd be super dope, seeing those two talk about boxing. But anyway, yeah, man, congratulations to Boots. Very good outing, very good performance. Got the stoppage. So I got no real qualms with Boots. Again, if I sounded a little biased, I gave y'all the disclaimer in the beginning. Boots is one of my guys, so I'm really wanting him to do well in his boxing career. But I'll make another video talking about what I think the next phases of Boots' career should look like. Some fights that's on the table for him at 147, and some fights I would love for him to take at 154. As I hit him up on Twitter, I'm like, "Hey, congratulations, little bro. You know what I mean? You did your thing out there, but I think that you should, consider moving up. Because, it looked kind of painful for him at 147. He was at, I think he came in at 146.4, something like that. And he looked a little drained. But when he actually came into the ring, I mean, I'm going to say like this, David Avanesyan looked bigger, and as far as the weight and all that kind of stuff, the weigh-ins and all that stuff. David Avanesyan even looked a little bigger in the ring. But I'll say this, when the fight started and Boots started working, Boots got bigger, you know what I'm saying? Pause, pause. But he started, really showing his skill set, was really magnifying him in the ring. As, it just looked at one point, David Avanesyan was overwhelmed. So shout out to my little bro. I'm happy for him. And like I said, I'm going to make another video talking about what's the next phase of what Boots' career should look like. But I am Tony the Savant. Please like this video, share this video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content on the channel. As well, if you haven't already joined the fam, please subscribe as I drop content daily, drop videos daily. Stay very, very busy on this platform. And my favorite part, like I said, is the thoughts. Leave y'all thoughts and opinions in the comment section. That's literally my favorite part because I get to exchange. And not get stuck in my ways. There's been a number of topics. Like I say, I was talking to one of the homies about Angel Reese. He started bringing some things to my attention. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to get stuck in my ways. And when I'm reporting, I want to make sure I'm reporting fairly. There's a lot of cap artists out here, ain't it? A lot of cap artists. So we don't need too much more of that. So, definitely leave y'all opinions in the comment section, as I'm always looking to sharpen up my tools and make sure that I'm on my square. But I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. It's Tony the Savant. Peace.